Hormone replacement therapy is finally becoming mainstream now that the FDA removed the black box warning. And that's a good thing, mostly. However, getting the prescription is only step one. And here's where a lot of women are left shortchanged. I'm Dr. Yvonne Karney. I'm the hormone locksmith and a gynecologist with over 30 years of experience. I've been prescribing hormones for a long time, and I didn't learn this through my traditional training. I had to think outside the box. Today, I want to share with you 5 very important things if you're considering hormone replacement therapy. Number 1, it matters what form of hormones you take. Please look for bioidentical hormones. Hormones are the keys and the receptors are the locks, and you need the right shaped keys. Bioidentical hormones are molecularly identical to the hormones your ovaries used to make. If it's available in that form, it only makes sense to take it that way. Number 2, don't take oral estrogen. Even bioidentical estradiol taken orally has much more risk than transdermal, which is available in a cream or a patch. This has been known since 2003 when the Lancet came out with a study that showed that oral estrogen had an increased risk of venous thromboembolism, whereas transdermal estrogen did not. You see, when you take a pill, it gets digested. It doesn't go straight to the bloodstream like a transdermal application does. It goes from your mouth to your stomach, to the portal vein, to the liver. And it's that metabolism by the liver, which is called the first pass effect, that creates inflammatory mediators that increase your risk of heart attack and stroke. So don't use oral estrogen. There are some well-meaning doctors who understand estradiol and bioidentical, but they have a compounding pharmacy make it in oral form. I do not advise that at all. Please use a patch or a cream only. Now, for progesterone, it's a little different. Oral progesterone is excellent because it also gets digested. However, in the liver, it creates a metabolite called 5-allopregnenolone. And 5-allopregnenolone is very similar to the relaxing neurotransmitter called GABA. So taking an oral progesterone in the evening can be very beneficial because many women in perimenopause and menopause have difficulty sleeping. So using that 5-allopregnenolone GABA-like effect can make a difference in your sleep quality. And that's a good thing because that's when we heal. Number 3, make sure you're working with a doctor that monitors your levels. This is not something that's necessarily in the mainstream approach. They'll give you a prescription and send you away and see you next year when you come in for your pap smear, and we'll just keep you on the same dose unless you have symptoms. Estrogen-progesterone balance is key, and the only way to know it is to check levels. Now, with progesterone, I do not check blood levels. It's really hard to know based on a blood test if you're taking progesterone, if you're on the right amount, because progesterone is metabolized very quickly. So taking your pill at night and then doing a blood test, even the next morning, your levels are going to look low because it's already been metabolized. This is where a urine hormone test like the Dutch test can be very beneficial because you test multiple hormone levels throughout a 24-hour period, and then it gives you the compilation of the average progesterone level during that 24-hour period. So it's going to catch the higher levels from the middle of the night because those are going to be present in your first morning urine when you sample that level. Now, a lot of gynecologists will just use the regular 100 to 200 milligrams of progesterone, and that has been found to be protective on the uterus against unopposed estrogen, which is really what we're trying to prevent with progesterone use. However, there are some women who are sensitive to progesterone, and they may feel bloated or puffy or have a slow bowel function and struggle with constipation on that dose of progesterone. So for those women, if we're monitoring the levels, we can make sure that we're keeping enough progesterone to be balanced with the estrogen in that urine study. And that's a very important thing. We can then give you a lower dose of progesterone, still making sure that it's balanced with the estradiol. And this would then come from a compounding pharmacy because the only 2 strengths that the regular pharmacies use are 100 and 200 milligrams. Number 4, don't forget about testosterone. Testosterone is a very important hormone. In fact, did you know that you actually have more testosterone in your body than you do estrogen? Testosterone is important for libido, brain health, bone health, muscle response to exercise, decision making. All of those things are crucial, and testosterone levels start to decrease in your 30s because sex hormone binding globulin increases starting in your 30s. By the time a woman reaches menopause, she may be at a fraction of the testosterone levels she had as a young woman. Unfortunately, we don't know much about what optimal testosterone is, and unfortunately, the lab values for testosterone, free testosterone, will go down to 0 in some labs. You need to work with someone who understands that that's not normal. 0 is not good. We need testosterone. And I really want to see a study come out looking at the benefits of testosterone and really in healthy women with good libido, good muscle, good bone, good brain, what are their testosterone levels? Because when we look at these levels and how normal range is determined, a lot of women who are included in that normal range probably have low testosterone. And that is what we're using to gauge the population with, and that's not good enough. Incidentally, even having normal total testosterone, if you have an elevated sex hormone binding globulin, will prevent your body from being able to utilize that testosterone. And one of the things that increases sex hormone binding globulin is liver inflammation. And guess what? We're living in a toxic soup nowadays. And so I think a lot of people have liver inflammation, and that's leading to higher sex hormone binding globulin and lower testosterone. Number 5, and this is probably one of the most important, is to monitor how your body metabolizes the estrogen. The only way to know how you metabolize your estrogen is to study one of the excretory pathways. And the Dutch urine test does this, and it can give you information on whether you metabolize your estrogen down the 2-hydroxy pathway, which is protective, or the 4-hydroxy pathway, which is dangerous. That's phase 1 of estrogen metabolism. And there are things we can do to increase the 2-hydroxy pathway. But in order to know what your ratio is, you need to get tested. In 2012, the Journal of the National Cancer Institute had a study that showed that the 2-hydroxy pathway was protective against breast cancer, whereas the 4-hydroxy pathway increased the risk, and methylation, which is phase 2 of estrogen metabolism, matters too. Because methylation protects any kind of estrogen. It prevents the damaging quinones, which are damaging to the DNA, and lead to an increased risk in cancer. That study is 14 years old, and yet there are so many people prescribing hormones that don't monitor estrogen metabolism. So this makes me nervous a little bit, I gotta be honest with you, because I'm really happy that hormone replacement therapy is gaining traction and that more people have it available to them, but it has to be monitored appropriately. Let's minimize the risks, and therefore we can have the benefits throughout the rest of our lives and age well. That's what we want. We want to age. We want to get old, because the alternative is not good. The alternative is to die young, but we need to do it right. And hormone replacement therapy is so beneficial if it's monitored appropriately and done correctly. So the women now who are going to their primary care doctors and saying, hey, give me my estrogen, the black box warning has been lifted. If those women are just given a prescription for Premarin or the Combi patch, which is neither one of those are bioidentical, and then they're told to come back in a year, what happens over time? They may have a problem. I don't want the pendulum to swing back that said, okay, we tried hormones and now we had all these problems. Well, it's because they use the wrong hormones. Or if they're not monitored for balance, if they're not monitored for metabolism, then we could have problems even if we're using bioidentical hormones. So if you're considering hormone replacement therapy, write these 5 things down. Forward this to someone who needs to hear it. Take notes and take this to your doctor and make sure that they do it right. And if they look at you cross-eyed, like you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about, then get another opinion. Work with an expert who is very familiar with hormone replacement therapy. If you want to know if your hormones are imbalanced, take my hormone quiz. The link to this is below. I'm Dr. Yvonne Karney. I'm the Hormone Locksmith. It is my pleasure to give you information that hopefully you can use to age well and long.